Welcome to Easy Peasy Books, From Author to Authority, the lively and engaging podcast for business professionals who've always believed they have a book in them. I'm your host, Jillian Whitney. Join me as I chat with authors and industry experts from all around the world to explore simple strategies to write, publish, and leverage your business book. Whether you're an entrepreneur, executive, or an employee, this podcast is for you. Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday, and I have a special friend across the pond, way across the pond today, and she is in the house today. I'm going to see if I can say your name right, Kristína Kováčová. Did I say it right?
Yes, perfect.
I practice. And so you are coming to us all the way from, is it Slovakia?
Yes, it's Slovakia. It's in the heart of Europe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. And, actually, coincidentally, our first lady of the United States is from Slovakia. And so, we know this country. You know your country. It's awesome. So anyways, before we get stuck in, actually, let me show everybody what our topic is today, and then I'll have you introduce yourself. So we're talking about from sisters to co-authors, the journey of writing a business book. And so before we start talking, can you please tell people who you are and just a little bit about what you do?
Yes. My name is Kristína, and I'm working with my sister, Ivana Bručenič. And we are working with companies who want to build their brand via LinkedIn. They want to attention of media and new clients and new employees, new colleagues. And this is why we tried and we found a way how to do it very smoothly, very, very simply, but really with the joy of the people who are ambassadors of a company. So we are LinkedIn experts helping companies to find their voice on LinkedIn.
Oh, that's beautiful. And the two of you are not only in business together, but you've actually written a book, and it's called The Magic of Employee Influence. Activate your employee ambassadors on LinkedIn to enhance branding, boost sales, and attract. Oh, I think I might be missing a word there. Am I missing a word? Nope, that's right. Okay, so hold up your book again. Awesome. Okay. Yes, it's there. So first of all, I love the fact that you're sisters that work together. You have different backgrounds. You're also very clever sisters because you both have PhDs. And it was like, wow, I was so just blown away. Your education level, your backgrounds. It's like you guys started working when I think you were like 5. I'm imagining that you're at home at 5 years old starting these careers because it's like you have so much that you do. You come from sort of similar backgrounds, different backgrounds. You have, you both have PhDs. You're very well educated. You have this business, and then you decided, hey, why don't we write a book? So it's like, I'm sure you had nothing else to do, right? I bet you the opposite. You had to write this book between the cracks, probably writing the book for people who are reading between their cracks of time. So I think you're a very time-focused person. So can you tell us this backstory about how you decided to write the book? Whose decision was it, you or your sisters?
It was exactly like you said. My sister called me because we are living 400 kilometers apart. So this is, it's a bit difficult, just a bit difficult. But the bond between us, it's much more stronger because of this, I think. But she called me like, okay, I found a writing press. It's a company. We publish the book. It's our publisher, and I think we should write a book. I was like, okay, let's do it. It was December, and we started our journey in January, just a couple of weeks after we signed a contract. And it was amazing. Really, it was an amazing experience. I had a kid. He was, I think, 1 year old at the time.
Wow.
And I had another kid. He was 3-year-old. So it was such an adventure. And really, to write a book in a coffee shops with food. It was very important to have a food in the coffee shops. So if you are in Slovakia, just let me know. I will tell you like all the best places all over this country. And it was amazing because people were so excited about this project. And we had amazing team, like maybe 30 people working with us. It was just us writing it, but we had writing coach, Siobhan, and she was amazing because she's a business lady and she knew exactly what we need to do with the book to make, the magic happen after.
I love it.
So she was really amazing. And what I really loved that she said, because we of course had some deadlines. So every week we had to send some pages or chapters. And she said like she never saw someone who would do it, on time, every time.
Wow.
We needed to write in the midnight. Like, we started and we wrote till the morning, but it was really worth it.
Wow. Wow. So can I ask you about the mechanics? So you've got one book coach coaching two sisters to write this book. And then did you kind of like divide and conquer? Like, here, you do this chapter, I'll do that chapter. How did you divide it all up? How did you do the work?
It was very interesting because we are very similar with Ivana, but as well at the same time we are totally different. So that's why it was so easy to split not the chapters. I think it was maybe, for example, I'm very, very like Excel person. I love Excel, So when I needed to do some separations of some information. So this was very cool for us to work with through the whole book. And then Ivana is amazing with words. She's like, I cannot say how proud I am of her. I love to read the sentences she wrote because she's so magic with it. And so she transformed my Excel sheet to a magic chapter. So I think this is the beauty of it. If you know each other's positive sides, this is the best thing. And also with the negatives, of course.
Absolutely. And I think that's really good when you say that, like, you kind of lean into the strengths as opposed to you trying, okay, well, we'll just do everything together. You can't do everything together. You can't sit down together and say, what will we write here? That doesn't make any sense. So to, have your divided responsibilities, but also to lean into our natural talents of, oh, this one, does better with this and I do better with words. I'm more structured and organized. So that's really good. Mm-hmm. Did you also sort of edit each other, or did you leave that to the book coach and the editors to kind of do all that bit?
Yeah, no, of course we did. Of course we did, because we sometimes we really had to, because when you have something in your mind and it's completely different, maybe we had a quick call and talked about it and then transformed the whole chapter, for example. But sometimes I just wrote few sentences and she did the rest of the chapter. Maybe it was just like this idea and she was like, oh yes, this is the best. And she was on fire, writing it. So we are very okay with editing each other things. For example, if we are creating something for our clients, it's completely fine. We don't take it personally.
I love that. So, okay. So we talked about your strengths. We talked about how you divide it up. Was there any problems? Because I think that's the biggest thing. I know I've been in business with my sister. And we were in business together. And one of the things that we did, we actually got along really well working together. But going into our business, we made this agreement that we would always be sisters first and business partners second. And that if we ever felt that the business was ruining our relationship, we would, step away. So that was a pact we made. And, we didn't write a book together, but we did have a successful company. So I'm keen to know, did you guys ever have any issues, or were you just so on the same page with this all the way through?
Mm-hmm. We have the best parents in this. And when I don't remember any particular moment. I really don't. Even in our company, not just writing a book, but this is a thing, if there is something in our mind, we can always go and talk to our parents and they would advise us how to deal with it between each other. So this is at least I do it. I don't know if Ivana, this is the secret. But yes, this is what helps me, to really have the family bond between us and advice. And I don't know if the book had some like really like the moment, like very, very fragile, I would say. I know the problem with the book itself, not between us. But for example, when you're writing about LinkedIn, it's not so easy. You cannot put LinkedIn anywhere, like except the places where they want it to be. So we needed to work with two lawyers, like two group of lawyers, two companies. They communicate with LinkedIn. It was a lot of months of work, and LinkedIn was like, they were amazing with it, really. And we understand why this all happened. But this is something I would recommend to any writer to really do this, because in case you don't, communicate with LinkedIn or other like social platform or other business, it can really ruin the whole experience and the outcome. They could turn us off as nothing.
Yeah. And how awful would that be to have your book out there and it's just like, oh, but I'm not on LinkedIn anymore. So it'd be like, ah. And actually, LinkedIn has been supportive of your book, hasn't it? Did they do any kind of feature on you or anything?
Yes, like we are in an official LinkedIn book club. This is a huge success for us. Yes, this was amazing when we find out. And yes, they are amazing. They are very amazing. The thing is, like, what we had the word LinkedIn ambassadors, and this was not very, very okay for them. And I completely find it understandable. So we had to find a way how to write it. And the thing is that we are working in Slovakia, Czech Republic, and like countries around, and also in English-speaking countries. So we needed to find something what is, what works for all our clients. So this was quite a project for us. And this is the thing I would advise to any author of any topic, to write down words you are going to use, some vocabulary. This is very important for us. And we said to each other, like, the second book we are going to write will have official vocabulary, because then it was such a process of editing it. It was a process, really, to find all the versions of the sentence words we try to use. So that's why, yes, this is something what we definitely do next time.
Exactly. And, it's funny. I've noticed that too, that it's like I created what I call it a style sheet. I think there's different names, different people call it different things, that like, oh, okay. Because I have the danger of, I'm Canadian and I'm also American. I was born in Canada and so I embrace British spelling. But in the United States, British spelling is not done. And so I had to always kind of be cognizant of, I probably do a bit of both, and that's not good. And so when you go to edit it, now it doesn't make any sense, because sometimes I use it OU and sometimes I just use an O, and just all sorts of different things. So what I did was, after my first book, I created a style sheet and I just said, okay, I'm going to use American English. This is how I'm going to use an M dash, with no spaces. And, I'm going to use single quotes, double quotes, whatever. I set up those styles so that now for future books, that's all together. And but it's kind of one of those things you don't know until you don't know, right?
Yes. Yes, this is a brilliant idea, really. And I remember when because Siobhan is Irish, and it was like, when she asked us British English or American English, I was like, oh my God, like, which one? Because they're like, which market should you prefer? Yes, I remember this moment.
Oh my goodness. And so actually, let me just backtrack. The very fact that you had an Irish book coach, was your book coach Irish? You're working with a British publisher. I'm sure you have an audience kind of global. So European audience for sure. And then, of course, maybe people in the UK, maybe people in America too. And yet your mother tongue is not English. So did you find, like, I just would love to know the backstory. Did you find that you would actually prefer to have written it in your mother tongue and then translated to English? Like, how did you do the writing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We, the thing is that Rethink Press was I think it was the spark for us. So when my sister, when she found them, it was like, yes, this is publisher we want to work with. They had the whole process. They have PR agency we worked with. It was amazing experience. They were so structured with the Excel sheet, you know. So I was so happy, and we got into Forbes in UK. It was amazing experience. For example, we were in a podcast in Australia, and we met at Uplift Live. We met a lady from UK who heard our Australian podcast and bought our book. It was crazy, and it was just, I think, couple months or like couple weeks after we published the book. So it was so surreal for us. It was so crazy. So to answer your question, in this case, Slovak language was not an option. What people suggested to us was to translate it to Slovak. So it would be, after. But we really wanted to have this experience with the writing coach and everything, because it was so special for us.
I love that. I love that. Okay, that's great. So let me just pop in and see if we have some visitors who are joining us today. We have Jeff Young. He is in the United States. He's joining us. He always does a check-in from YouTube. This will be a very interesting conversation. Namaste. And then he hops over to LinkedIn, and he always lets me know we're working on both platforms. So this is good. He goes, I'm ready to listen to some sisterly advice. Jillian and Kristína, namaste. Yay, Jeff. Thank you for being here. We have Felipe, who is joining us. He was over on the East Coast. I think he's around Boston area. Great to see you, Jillian and Kristína. Yay. Thank you for joining us, Felipe. And Jeff says, this is best in any team. Max the strengths and minimize the weaknesses. Absolutely. Absolutely. So agree. And then here's my buddy over in Brussels. We've got Tina Jarvit coming in. I love the business cases in the book, especially the Voltea Employee Ambassadors Training. Ooh, okay. Then you have to tell us what that one's about.
Yes, Voltea, it was very, very exciting project, because they were expanding to, like, I think it's 17 countries or so. I'm not sure at the beginning at the project, and they were on fire. Really, they were amazing. And the thing is that they had the special product, like electric cars, but the special field, and it was not so popular at that time. Now everyone is electric, but like at that time it was not so cool. But they did amazing job. Really, they had the best sales people, and it was a pleasure to work.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So I guess that's another thing then. You had case studies in the book, and how did you handle that? Because obviously you've named people, you've named, companies that you've worked with. So what was involved with getting permission for that? Like, how do you handle the legalities of including case studies in your book?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was a very long process, because we had a list of companies we wanted to include in the book, because it was some kind of special project and it was interesting for our clients when we were talking about it in person or in public, and then we said, okay, we need to put them in a book. So we had a list, and then we contacted them and asked them for permission. So, but this is a very long process. So if you are writing a book, all of you really take a time with this and start at the beginning of writing a book. This is the best way to do it, not at the end. And what we did, we wrote the case study, and then we let them check it, of course. And because we are working with a lot of corporates, and they have longer processes, of course. So that's why we needed to send it to maybe more people and anything. Like it was a very long process, but it was really worth it. And I think this is the thing, like when you're writing a book, when there are like real people who did this, because what we have in our book is 10-hour process how to have your LinkedIn, like your employee ambassador on LinkedIn. And we really appreciate how people take care of these case studies, because of course that they didn't want to tell everything, but they allow us to say at least some few, a few little details.
I love that. And I think that's probably, recognizing that if you want to include somebody in the book, get that stuff sorted out first so that you can give it to them, because they might say, hey, yes, but with edits, but I don't like this bit and I would like this bit, because a lot of times, especially if we're helping companies, they might say, well, I don't want it to show us looking weak, so it can kind of be very difficult to make that little dance. And like you said, do it up front. Even photographs, you have to get permission for photographs. There's just so many different things. So it's like either be vague and, just say one company we worked with and then talk in generalities. But I think it's really nice when you can actually use the companies themselves. So I think that's really, really good.
And exactly as you said, this is why I loved our writing coach. She reminded this every time we said with each other, because we had Zoom calls, and she always says this, like, check the case studies, really talk to your clients every single time. It was like when you are writing your school paper, you should do it in advance, but then you say, nah, I will do it later. And this was the same thing.
I love that.
So, but like, this was the very good thing that we had Siobhan, that she reminded us like a lot.
Awesome. So let me ask you about the title. So how did you come up with the title for your book, The Magic of Employee Influence? How did you actually come up with that title?
Yes. This was a very, very interesting, because we didn't know, like we had something in our mind, but actually it was so weak, I think, because I don't remember it. But then the owner of the Rating Press, he is amazing with this. So that's why our Siobhan, she told us to ask for a quick call with him, like 15 minutes call. It was like just 15 minutes. He never read this book, nothing about it, I think, because he didn't have a time. And he is amazing, really. We explain him just like just a few sentences. What is this book about, and what we want our readers to feel after. This was very important for us, that we want people after reading this book feel that it's gonna be okay. Just follow the process, trust the process, and it's gonna be okay. And that's why we wanted to feel magical. And he just like said it. It was we sat there with Ivana. I think it was maybe after 5 minutes. I don't know. And he just said it and was like, okay, we are done. Perfect. Amazing.
Wow. And you both felt that. Both of you felt, this is it.
Yes.
We're happy.
That's nice. It was perfect. And I would love to talk about this little dot. Yes, this is the thing about it. Like, I have this little dot here, pink dot. And I need to talk about it because no one is asking about it. It's very special to me, because our publisher had these people who designed our cover. And when I look at it, it was like, okay, it's very pretty, but it's missing something. And I just did this little dot and like picture here. And when I had a meeting with a very, very, very famous marketer here in Slovakia, he's amazing. And he told me, oh, this is so cool. And the dot, the pink dot, is so cool. And I felt so proud. I was like, yeah, it was me. And he was laughing, because he was like, yeah, your sister wrote the whole book and you add the dot.
After the dot.
Yeah, just a little dot, but I am so proud of myself.
I love it. But maybe the dot is really significant of like putting your mark on something. You know,
Yeah.
it means something. It was the finishing touch. It was just like there has to be a little bit of me in this because everybody else is like contributing to it. But
Mhm.
where's me? I'm the dot. So I think
Yes.
that's beautiful.
And the thing is that we had praise here from Juraj Polaretsky, who is in Microsoft bought LinkedIn. So it's a huge praise for us. And he wrote this book is an absolute game changer. So I wanted to point this out, you know, that people take this.
I
So
love
that's
that.
why the dot is on this place.
I love that. I love that. So you posted a video today and it was gorgeous of you and your little dog. I love the little dog. It was he or she. I don't, is that he or she? He just looked adorable. Like he just loves you so much. So in your post, which I love because I was able to translate, thank you, LinkedIn, because I was able to hit the translate button and see what you were talking about. You said you were going to talk about the one thing that could have changed everything. And then afterward, you said, well, maybe not everything. It just would have made things easier. So what's the one thing?
Yes. The one thing is the style sheet. If I said your words, this is the thing we would do, we will do next time because it will save us like days of editing, maybe weeks of editing. Really, it was a lot of work, and this is totally different. This is a game changer if you are writing a book.
I love that. And I think, especially if you're writing the book with someone else, you know, a collaborator, you know, your sister, or it could be, I wrote a book with my friend Tina. So it's like we wrote a book together. And having that style sheet up front would clarify this is how we're going to do it so that they're not going in one direction and you're, you know, because you might say, well, I remember for me now. But it's like, but you have to agree on it up front. And you might say, okay, you know what? When we talk about, even when you're going to be talking about people, are we going to use their full name, their last name, you know, their first name? We're going to talk about mom. Do we spell mom this way? Mom, mother, you know, all these little things, even stuff about your vocabulary for your company. And that's a lot of things too, is that when you write these books, sometimes you don't realize you're speaking in jargon. And you may understand it, but other people don't. So you've got to sort of break that down. So I love that idea. So that's I'm applauding you. Style sheets, they're awesome. I love this. I love this. So let me just pop over and see if we got a couple more comments. Jeff says, Kristína, do the different markets, UK, Europe, USA, require different advice, or is your approach the same across all of them?
Yes, we have like in Europe, like Europe is totally different because you have different languages. And this is a huge problem, you know, like issue, not a problem, it's an issue. So it's totally different, and people are different in every single country. So what we recommend is go global. It's here in our book. Like you can think in a global with ambassadors, with your employee ambassadors, but you should have a project hero, a person who, you know, who leads the project of ambassadors in every single country. So they know the specifics, because this is like, I think this is crucial. And what we see in a lot of corporates, that they have one person in, for example, in the US, and they lead the project across the world. But Europe is totally different. Every single country is totally different. So we recommend to have project hero in every single country.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
You can use this approach as well in other platforms, Instagram and Facebook too. So it's completely fine to use it, and our clients use this. So feel free.
Wonderful. Wonderful. We have Kristy. She's joining us from sunny Florida. Thank you for popping in today, Kristy. And she's a customer service professional. So that's wonderful. And then Tina, who says, of course, she loves pink a lot. And we're not surprised because Tina just loves pink. She just loves pink. And I love that.
Again.
She's showing our book, Tina. So that's nice. That's nice. I love that. I love that. So, okay. Any final advice that you would give to anyone who is thinking about working with a family member, a sister, a brother, a mother, a son, whatever way you're going to go in your family, maybe your grandparents, it doesn't matter. Any final advice you'd give to somebody if they're working with family?
I think have clear boundaries of personal life and work life. During Christmas, you know, don't talk business. Enjoy your free time and go for it. It's amazing experience.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your expertise, sharing your knowledge. I love that because you're two sisters, you can kind of, one goes off and does this show, one does another one. This one's speaking here, this one's speaking there. So you can kind of divide and conquer now afterwards, which is kind of a really cool way to market the book because you're all benefiting. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for everybody who has joined in, who is watching live, who's listening to the podcast. And we just so appreciate you. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Easy Peasy Books, From Author to Authority. If you found value in today's episode, I'd be grateful if you could leave us a review. It helps other aspiring authors discover our podcast. To learn more about writing, publishing, and leveraging your business book, visit my website at easypeasybooks.com.